Welcome to Real Estate Explained, the podcast that gives you a backstage pass to the ever-evolving world of real estate. I'm your host, Nick Bush, a realtor with over a decade of experience helping clients buy, sell, and invest with confidence. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or just curious about the market, this show is for you. Each week, we'll dive into trending topics, break down the latest real estate news, and bring you expert interviews with the pros so you're prepared for every step of the journey. Ready to turn your real estate goals into reality? Keep watching. All right, we in here. I'm here with my man Iqbal.
I'm here. I'm excited to be here, Nick. I love it. We grew up together. I just love that I'm here, and I wanted to give you your flowers before we start. You've always been a big brother. You've been a protector, and I'm so happy to have you in my life. So I'm happy to be here.
Appreciate you, bro. I'm happy that you are now a real estate agent. We've been talking about this, it feels like, for like 6-7 years.
I know.
And you've been pump faking, and you finally...
I've been slacking.
So before we get started, introduce yourself to the people. Tell them who you are.
My name is Hasib Iqbal. I'm with Realty. Under Legacy, and I'm about maybe a month in.
Yeah.
So Nick was, I'm grateful enough for Nick to be inviting me on here. But I am an Annandale, just like Nick, a native, born and raised, and that's a little bit about me.
Yeah. So I've known Hasib since we were probably like 11, 12. Same, different elementary school in the same neighborhood though.
Long time.
Same middle school, same high school basketball teammates.
Yes.
And you've been crushing your whole life.
Varsity athletics, baby. I got these stitches because of Nick, you guys.
That's crazy. We do got this. I forgot that happened. I forgot that I collided into you. I was bleeding crazy that day.
Same.
But you were in banking for basically you've been in banking before real estate, right?
I went to college. It wasn't for me. I was like, there's nothing that these guys can teach me that I can't learn out there, right?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more on the adventurous side. So I went out, got into banking, went to H&M, grabbed my best suit, didn't even have experience, begged the branch manager at Capital One to hire me, got hired as a peak time teller. It's only 24 hours.
Yeah.
Anybody else would have said, no, I can't do it. I've always been humble, hustler. I didn't care. I did it. The rest is history. Got all the way up to work in every position, back office, front office, management, all that good stuff. And I'm glad I did because it really sharpens your tool set for, that whole customer-centric 101 and knowing people and mirroring people and just that whole atmosphere. So it worked out.
And then you were, so you got into real estate and you're on, shouts to Kelly Martinez.
Yeah, shout out to Kelly Martinez. She's the best.
She's one of the whales in the market.
Legend.
So you're learning from definitely one of the top agents and top teams in the area.
Realty.
But when you got into the business, so what was your mindset when you're like, okay, I'm gonna get into real estate and this is what I'm gonna do when I get here? What was your mindset around
So my goal was to make free time for it.
Okay.
Being a young parent, getting married young at 25. I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
2 daughters, 1 son. They're very young, 4, 6, and 1. I was like, you know what am I gonna do? Because we live in Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to maintain. And I have expensive taste, as a lot of people know. So I was in banking. It wasn't doing it for me. The stress, the blood pressure is always high. You got to be above, 9, 10 KPIs, key performance indicators, what they call it. You got to just be doing your thing all around in banking.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can do it one month and then not do it the next. Like literally it resets the next month. So the level of pressure, the stress, I swear it's not worth the money for me.
Yeah.
So I was like, what am I going to do to get into something where I can pursue my dream of real estate? And I'm seeing people like you now getting into it, doing it, and I'm like, damn, Nick's doing it too. Like, oh my God, I got to get into this, right? A lot of my loved ones are doing it. They're becoming super successful. My wife, I look at my wife one day and I'm like, what are we going to do? Because I don't want to work forever for someone.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, if you're in IT, things of that nature, you enjoy what you do, nothing against you. I've just always had an entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah.
So I told my wife, I said, what are we going to do to get into something? She said, you know what? I want to get into decor. I've always thought about it. Decor, like flowers, florals, arches, weddings, all this stuff. I kid you not, I sold my car. When they say bet on yourself, no one knows this. It was kind of a tearjerker. Leading up to that, life started to get a little tough. Because I had a second kid, and I wasn't in the career, like I said, I wasn't in the income I wanted to be in, and it got to the point where I'm going to dealerships and I'm having to give up cars that I'm driving, and I'm doing X, Y, Z, and still having to maintain this image. You know how it is, how we are as men. We can't be upset. We can't show fatigue or being tired or being upset. So I'll never forget the day I had to turn in one of the expensive cars for her, my wife. It just ignited something in me. I was like, no, never again. We're going to take it to the top. We're going to skyrocket. She's never going to be able to feel this ever again, this pain right now. So that's when I talked to, and I said, what should we do? I sold my car and I bought her first shipment for decor. The rest is history. And then I Ubered for another year and a half.
Yeah.
Everywhere to work, to jobs, and here we are now. So
then you got into real estate. Like, so real estate was like an extension of like, I need to build something where I can control my income and my time and like really put on. Okay, and so you got in, you joined one of the best teams in the area, and you rolling already. You got some contracts.
I'm trying to. Yeah.
And so what's your, like, so just let's tell the people, like, a month in, what's your pipeline looking like right now?
My pipeline, it's kind of scary because my teammates are kind of like, Hasib, if this is the way it's going to be and you can close, like, this is looking, we probably haven't seen anything like this in someone's first week or two. Yeah. Because I kind of didn't know. I don't know anything about the industry at first. Now I'm getting to learn it, right? It's been like a few weeks. I have a few pre-approvals. I already have like 4 to 5, 2 weeks in buyer, what do they call it? Buyer broker contract where people are like, no, you're my realtor. I'm getting a lot of inquiries on Instagram. So I am stoked. Yeah. Like, I can't believe this is happening. It's like a dream come true.
So I knew, I was telling my wife, I was like, when Hasib decides to do this, he's gonna crush because he's a popular guy in his network. He's like kind of the guy in his network.
Thank you.
And so it's great for me to be looking from the sidelines and see like, he's actually like doing that, right?
I appreciate you.
And you don't know the stat yet. But it's like 20% of the agents are doing 80% of the business. I think sometimes they use the stat 10%. It's really like 10% of the agents are doing 90% of the business, right? The average, there's 1.5 million, a little over 1.5 million agents in the U.S., licensed agents in the U.S., and the average agent last year did 2 transactions.
Wow.
And so for you to already have 3, 4 moving along, you already are doing more than the average, right? But I think that, it's tough because in this area, the average sales price is like $600,000 to $700,000, right? Depending on where you are. So most people, when they're making a purchase like that or selling something like that, they want somebody that's experienced, that has, the knowledge of the game.
That's right.
And that they know is like gonna broker this correctly.
That's right.
So why do you think you've been able to get your people to trust you to do business with you right at the beginning?
So shout out to Kelly from Finesse. She's our team lead. Kelly has been there with me every step of the way.
Yeah.
She joins the buyer broker consultations. Okay. I mean, the consultations. She joins everything. She's there literally if it's 10 o'clock, if it's 11 o'clock, if it's 12 o'clock, if it's 6 a.m. She's picking up the phone. She's getting on the phone and she's there for me. Patricia, all of them. Yeah. Everybody at EXP actually over there in the Tyson's Corner. Mossy, another guy that's literally been there for me, kind of recruited me over to get on the team. But I also think it stems from, like you said, when people trust you and people know that you're genuine. And I stress this with everyone, with everything in life, because there's everyone selling weddings or selling shoes or there's everyone in banking, but people come to Nick because the experience that Nick gives them, right? Like, we're on Nick's podcast, right? Because I want to be on your podcast because the experience that you give, who you are, your aura. So I think when it comes to people trusting you and knowing that you're going to go to the end of the earth to make it happen for them, and your character and your ethics and who you are play a big role in that, that's why I think a lot of people, and that's what a lot of people are telling me. Scary thing is, last year, I referred about 11 homes. Last year. That's what really started making me feel like, hold on, man.
So
I think you need to go do this. I referred 11 homes for family members and they all purchased homes.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my wife like, dude, I could have made a fortune last year. 11 houses. So now I'm at the point where, that's what I'm shifting towards. Like, that's the goal right now.
So on the team, are you like kind of in the buyer agent role right now?
I am basically doing everything. You throw somebody in the water, everything. I have people looking at condos. I have people with pre-approvals for over $2 million, looking at houses in Chantilly with 7 bedrooms, 8 baths. Like, I'm still learning all this stuff. So Kelly and them, I finally got set up yesterday because they're like, you're just bringing such a high influx of clients right away that we're rolling with the punches with you, but you got to get set up on XYZ and get this rolling and start getting because I've just been bringing people, right? So that's where I'm at right now, but now I'm starting to slowly with my team learn the business. So I'm basically doing everything.
So what do you feel like is like, if you So as a new agent, right? Like, what do you feel like you need to do? Like, how are you conveying like your value proposition to folks?
Well, at the end of the day, the good part is the people that are contacting me are loved ones, their friends, their family.
Yeah.
They already know me. They trust me. There's not much that needs to be done. People are, I'm waking up I can show you a text where I woke up yesterday to a text, pre-approval letter for $2 million.
Yeah.
And they're like, Hasib, make it happen. I want X, Y, Z.
You know, that's interesting because when I first got into the business, I reached back to everyone just like from the area.
Gotcha.
And at that time I was younger, right? I was 26. So everybody was like, can we buy a house? Like, that's not even possible. And so I did it with education, right? Like social media, leveraging social media and doing the education and kind of teaching people like the home buying process and like the selling process.
I love it. Your videos motivated me. I'm telling you right now,
bro.
I watch them every day.
I think what's different though, like in what I see, because you're Afghan, right?
Yes.
Afghan. Do you say Afghani? You're
Afghani,
right?
Afghan, whatever you want to call
You're
it.
Afghani, right? And I think that what's really cool about certain communities, like in especially our area, like what people don't realize in Annandale is like black and white is the minority.
Yeah.
And it's mostly international.
It's a melting pot.
You know, and I tell people all the time, people are like, oh, you're from Annandale, like the Korean restaurants are there.
Yep.
I'm like, no, there's a lot of Korean businesses, but this is really like a Central American city. There's a bunch of Afghans. I always tell them, I grew up with a bunch of Afghans, you know?
Yes.
And so I know a lot of times in those communities, it's like the community is tight. Like you only work with your people in your community.
Tight knit.
So is that like a reality for you also?
That's what's happening. You nailed it, Nick. I
Okay.
mean, your synopsis is accurate. It's 100%. That's what it is. Afghans are reaching out to me. Some of them are brand new. They've been here 4 years. You know, with everything that happened, evacuation in Afghanistan, a lot of people came here like SIV, things of that nature. A lot of them brought money over. I don't know how, but they brought money over. These people were in government. They were politicians, all sorts of stuff. So I got a guy that's only been here for like 6 years so far, and he's already pre-approved for like 1.1 million. And I'm like,
that's great.
there's people that have lived here for 30 years that can't, you know what I mean, can't get approved for 1.1 million. But these are guys that have been working on their beacons just in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
They got high beacons, and like it comes down to me. Little background about me is I'm born and raised in Annandale, Virginia, but thank God for my father. He took me back to Afghanistan during a war zone at least 7 times.
Because he's G'd up.
Because he's like, he's G'd up. You know? I don't want
I already know he's G'd up.
7 or 8 times he took me back. My mom's like, don't take him back.
Yeah.
This is a war zone. He's like, no. The culture, the ethics, and his native language. He needs to be fluent in it.
Okay.
I want him to know that this is who you are, this is your background. And that helped a lot with what's going on right now with real estate.
Yeah.
Because those are the people that are reaching out to me because I can speak the language, I can connect to them. I know from mannerism and respect and, not to be too much, not to be too little, exactly what they want. So it works out.
So that cultural competency is important. Do you feel like people are just like, let me connect to like my guy, or is it more so cultural competency? And let me explain. So like I have a lender I work with, his name's Javier, right? And
he's good. I like Javier.
Javier's great. Yeah, Javier's a beast. I'm shouting him out. It's gonna go straight to his head.
He's amazing. No, I love him. Before you even begin on Javier is someone that Saja, who's another realtor, I love her. She connected me to Javier. Javier literally from that day has been locked in with me.
We can't tell Javier he's the GOAT too much. He's gonna tell me
I love him. Great character.
But sometimes, and I don't know if I'm violating for that, but like I understand, I think because I grew up in such a place where it was really diverse, that like someone that is Spanish, that's Hispanic and speaks Spanish and knows English fluently, they might want to talk about their money and their language though.
That's right. Correct.
And is that like part of it? Like people are like, look, like I can do the day-to-day, it's cool, but when I'm talking about this money and this asset, like I need to do this in like my language.
I have a example of that too, not with sharing any names or stuff like that, right? Because I don't know what I'm allowed to share or not share, but I know that I have a guy right now. That's exactly it. This guy comes to he's a relative. He comes from my in-laws. He comes to all the family gatherings, low key, doesn't say a word. Hangs out, chills, that's it. All he's shared with everybody is that, I drive Uber here and there, this and that. Contacts me because he sees the first gen stuff that I posted with Glendon. Yeah. Shout out to Glendon, by the way.
Glendon helped me buy my house, so shouts to Glendon.
Glendon is amazing. He's there at Every ring, every call. I go ahead and get the process started. Glendon gets involved. Same thing. The guy is very secretive, but he trusts me. He wants to talk to me, and he wants me to literally be a part of the entire process. So you're absolutely correct. Didn't want to share nothing about nothing. He rather have shared it in our language with me, and then me kind of mediate through him having a conversation with Kelly, Glendon, all those people. But his comfort literally started with me. So if I wasn't a part of the equation, they would have never, you know what I mean? They would have never met the guy. So you're absolutely right on your synopsis and your inference about that as well too.
So when you got into the business, right, what do you feel like now you're a month in, right? So it's not like you know a whole bunch. Right, but like, what are some of the myths about real estate that you thought, like being an agent and just about like how you go about buying homes and selling homes?
So I never really heard any myths, but I have heard that, you know, I'm kind of spookster. You know what I mean? I like
you own your home.
I own my house.
And you own, this is not your first house, right? This is
a second house.
So house. So you're a homeowner also.
We paid off the Annandale house, stayed in it for a long time. I started popping out a bunch of kids. So, and we come from a cultural background where I wasn't going to leave my parents. And luckily I married a fantastic businesswoman, entrepreneur that is cool with that whole thing of, you know, the culture of keeping my parents with us and all that good stuff. So we actually sold the Annandale home and went and built in Clifton. Well, it's jurisdiction Manassas, but if I tell you Manassas, you're going to think it's Manassas, but it's like Clifton. Literally in the woods, in those jungles.
I know it is. That's a nice little area right
there. Yeah. Dree's Home, shout out to them. Really good builder. But never really heard any myths because I've never really been around the industry. So I don't know what I'm learning as we go. Maybe you could tell me a few myths that you had.
Well, the usual myths, especially when you're talking to buyers, is like, you know, how much down payment you need or what your credit score needs to be or like how hard it is to actually buy a home, you know? And so are you dealing with any of that or are you just getting people
now that you worded it like that, definitely. I'm that excited.
Like basically I'm saying like what have you learned now that you're in the industry that you didn't know before?
Oh, everything. Everything, just the whole process. How you need to get something signed, how they need to sit down, the consultation, you need to walk them through the whole process from A to Z, what it's going to be. They have all sorts of questions, first-time home buyers, interest rates. People are scared about paying 7%, 6%, so they're trying to get with you. You're supposed to be the expert, so you need to be knowledgeable. You need to be reading up every single day. I learned so much. You know, the other day they were telling me about a septic inspection and how that works because my house actually in Clifton is we have a drain field. These are all things, you know, crawl spaces. Like I literally didn't even know what they meant by, is it built on a crawl space or looking at the top of the house, is it new? Did they replace, what is it, the shingles and all that stuff? Like all these things literally in I did my first 2 open houses yesterday. So I'm fresh on the pod off of my first 2 open houses. I'm not going to lie, my first open house looked like a scene out of Insidious. It was scary. It was scary. You had the dock, there was chains. Like I learned right then and there, don't let your client just look at any house and say that, okay, we're going to go look at that house.
Elaborate on that a little bit. What do you mean?
My clients were referred to me, obviously, from a parent, and they just got married. And they contacted me and they said, we were kind of looking for houses that we can build up. Right? Like, you know,
like a fixer-upper kind.
Like a fixer-upper is the word, right? The verbiage. So I said, okay, cool, let's do it. So I'm excited. So I'm like, my first ever showing, let's go do it. So Kelly's like, let's go. Kelly was kind of skeptical. She knows this, but she wanted me to get the experience, right? So we get to the house. Horrible. Like, I would have never allowed my client to go look at that house. So when we're leaving that house, long story short, I looked at my client and I said, hey, look, from now on, I'm going to search up the homes. Don't worry, I got you. I'm going to send you a list of 5 to 6 all the time. Take a look at them because what we just viewed, I'm sure and they're like, yeah, Hasib, we're so sorry. We would not have ever. Look, so that's another thing I learned. You're the expert. You're the driver. You got to kind of tell them, hey, not this one. I don't think this is the one.
I think that's important. And it's great to hear that you can understand that right away and are going to take that position because I think a lot of times our real estate agents get a bad rap because we have so many agents that are not doing business that they don't even know the game, right? If you're doing 2 deals a year or 5 or with a handful, whatever, shout out to the agents that are not like, you know, like shouts to y'all too, but you have to be in the game and like shoot to like know how to play, right? And in my opinion is that real estate agents should not be looked like in this commodity space. We should really be looked at as like lawyers
Correct.
and like CFP, certified financial planners, in that lane because we're helping somebody do something
Correct.
that's so important. And I think it's like valuable to a client to not have to just like have your realtor open all the doors for you.
That's right.
Because you're seeing something that you think might be cool.
That's right.
Really what you're doing in that situation is you're like listening to what they want and understanding what they want and being like, you know what, let me drive. And so that every time we're out on showings, you have a real option to buy one of these houses.
I tell my clients all the time, it's like kind of look at me like a doctor.
Yeah.
You go to the doctor and he doesn't just look at you and say, oh, you need antibiotics, right? You have to explain to the doctor what's going on for him to prescribe you medication.
Exactly.
So I kind of tell my clients that all the time. And I did it in my first few consultations. I'm like, look, I'm going to ask a bunch of questions, a lot of questions. It was kind of beginners, scared to try to tell them like, hey, I don't want you to go look at these houses. But now that I've seen it, I'm like, hold on, my inference, my natural instinct was actually correct. They should have never looked at that house. I should have never let them. And we don't want to be order takers.
Yeah.
We're the professionals. We're the experts. And luckily, we grew up playing varsity athletics and basketball. My confidence kind of comes from that.
Exactly.
So it's been with me since 15. And I just, sometimes you got to not second guess yourself. You know what I mean? You got to just take the lead.
I think that your client wants you to take the lead.
Yes.
And they don't even know what how to convey that.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to happen. But I think if your clients don't trust you, it's going to be a tough transaction for them,
correct.
But also for you because you're going to be doing a lot of running around.
A lot.
Yeah. That's dope, bro. I'm glad you're in the game, bro.
Thank you, man.
So what was I I had a question, but I forgot it,
It's okay. I'm going blank too. I'm just excited to see you. I'm super excited to see you and be here with you today. That's everything for me.
Nah, this is dope. So are you, how are you, because you guys have the wedding business.
Yes.
Right? So are you guys leveraging that at all in real estate? Like, do you have a plan to leverage that?
You know what's crazy? Nick, this is why you got to be around people that know more than you and do more than you, right? Kind of learn something from them. Once I got with Fineness, they were like, Hasib, are you talking to your newlyweds about buying homes?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, as a matter of fact, I'm not. I was like, because we're so busy with getting the flowers prepped and the centerpieces, and I'm doing 3-4 weddings a weekend. I'm kind of having to make, there's a lot of friction now in my business because I'm having to hire more people to go do the jobs, and so that I'm able to be here for this podcast right at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So I went for it. They say you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly.
I have a client who contacted us for decor 2 weeks ago. Unreal. I'm like, hey, after the wedding, what are you going to do? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you're going to buy a house, aren't you? And she's like, yeah, we just don't have an agent or anything like that. I'm a realtor. Hello. She's like, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Sent her the Kelly's to get on the thing for a consultation.
Zoom, yeah.
Boom, she signed up.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it like, oh my God, this goes hand in hand at this point. So now I'm gonna make it a part of my, wedding business. We've been in the game 4 or 5 years. We're doing lots of weddings. But I think there is a piece where I do need to get licensed in Maryland and DC. Because a lot of my clients are Baltimore.
Oh, you're doing weddings out there.
So I do need to see, look into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. It goes hand in hand, and I was able to book literally a consultation from that conversation.
And so you guys built your house in Clifton, right?
Yes.
Can you give us the specs on the house?
How much it costs?
Yeah, you don't have to tell me how much it costs, but what's the bedroom count, bathroom count, et cetera?
It's about 7,000 square feet.
Okay.
And it is 6 bedrooms,
I love to hear
4 or 5 baths. We're not rich.
Yeah.
We have big hearts.
Yeah.
I have a big heart. I've always been this way. Even in school, remember I'm wearing my dad's busted his ass. I don't know how, right? But I had the brand new Jordans on all the time. We have big hearts. We have big hearts. I thought this was the leap that I needed to take to kind of become the leader of my family.
Yeah. And
kind of get that respect and tell my dad, don't worry about it, mortgage, whatever it is. Because I'm not going to lie, my dad came through with that deposit, right? Because he sold the Annandale house, kept it real with me. We're best friends. And he did that, but he said, look, from this point on, I'm getting on an airplane, one-way ticket to Afghanistan. I don't know when I'm going to come back because he has 2 properties back home. So he wants to go chill. He's done.
Chilling,
So dad retired, and everything's on me now, and I love it.
That's dope.
I love it.
That's like very cultural, like what you just explained. I understand it.
Yeah.
And so why did you decide to build instead of buy?
So when we were looking at it, that's a great question. I love you. You're amazing. So really, that's a great question. So the reason why is because I told my parents, I said, look, if we sell our Annandale home, we're in this together, right? We've all helped pay off this house at this point. If we sell our Annandale home and we've been looking for a year. We had been looking for a year, Chantilly, Loudoun County, XYZ. I said, we're kind of not finding the house. You guys are picky. My wife is picky. My mom is picky. I'm like, you guys are not getting the house that you guys are looking for. And you're going to end up spending 1.2, 1.1, whatever it is, $1 million easy for a house that's not even what you want. So lo and behold, my realtor, Imran, he's with Remax. I'm going to shout him out too. I went to him and I said, look, man, what do we do? They're not finding the house that they want.
Yeah.
Like they want all these different things. He said, look, man, there's Drees Homes. There's this place. They're only going to fit 13 or 12 or 13 houses. Go look into it. Don't get me wrong. I kind of bit off more than I can chew. There was times where, I wanted to sit down and cry and pull my hair out from how stressful it was to build this house.
Yeah.
You're building it bedroom by bedroom, faucet by faucet, closet by closet, door by door.
Yeah.
That's how we came about it. I said, look, if we're going to put $400,000 or $500K down, we might as well. We're going to finance $870,000, $890,000, $900K.
Yeah.
But get our dream home that we built, that we want, on a hill, 2-acre lot. Why not do it? So everyone was like, let's go do it.
So what was the process of that? Was it just the builder? Was it architect?
Everything.
Designer? How do you go from A to Z there?
Oh my God, there was so much. It took a year.
Okay, so it took a year to build.
The rain, the snow.
Yeah.
You come and it's just a slab of land. Mm-hmm. And then when you see what these guys do at the end of this, you're like, wow, I want to get into that in the future.
Yeah.
I would want to flip flip homes or, do these things because it's amazing to see. You're literally telling them what you want. And we didn't know any better. There's things now that I look at, I'm like, damn, I could have done that like this or I could have done that like that. But it's okay. It's experience. But it's literally meeting after meeting, person after person, professional after professional, diagram after diagram, and you're literally clueless. But thank God I had realtors, I had some connections, I had some guys that have their own construction company. They're kind of bummed out I didn't go with them, but it happened, right? And we got it done. My wife went to every meeting. I'm not gonna lie.
I was gonna say, how did you come up with the layout, like the design of the house?
So my wife and my father came out with that. I'm one of the guys that from the beginning was like, look, I'm gonna hustle, I'm gonna make it happen for you guys, and I'm gonna bust my behind to pay for it.
Yeah.
But you guys have to design.
Oh, you were like, do it.
Do what you guys want to do. So I barely went to meetings.
Okay.
But I'm saying what my wife and my father's experience was. I would go here and there. I went to the ribbon cutting, and I just loved. I'm sure you saw on social media, all that. Yeah. They rolled out the whole red carpet. I mean, we don't drink. I'm Muslim, but they wanted to do like wine and stuff like. We didn't. We're not really into that type of thing. But ribbon cutting. Our realtor had decorated the house with this really nice sign. It was an amazing experience. I'm not gonna lie. Not the type of guy. I'm not too soft. I don't cry too much or this and that. But I kind of shed a tear that day because I'm like, look, bro. This is the American dream. My parents, not to segue into something crazy.
Your first generation,
Not to segue into anything crazy, but Nick, my dad fought wars.
I know.
He shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
He was a guerrilla fighter. Not even was a guerrilla commander.
Yeah.
He should have died 1,000,000 times. For him to come over. Become refugees in Pakistan, come over here. My mom and them to come over here, work at fish and chips, work at a cleaners. My dad to do God knows what, 2-3 jobs. For me to walk into this house, everything in our timeline was flashing before my eyes.
Yeah.
That's why I'm telling everybody, if you're sitting on that couch and you're watching this, don't wait.
Yeah.
Go become a realtor. It took me 5 years to get past the test.
Yeah.
5 years.
Well, I think it took you 5 years to really decide to lock in, So what made you decide this house? Because you had the Annandale house, right? You guys sold that. That's the house you grew up in.
Yeah,
right?
I cried at that house.
So really, you kind of buying your first house for the family.
Yeah.
What made you decide I'm gonna build my dream house the first time? Instead of just, and I know this kind of goes into what we'll talk about a little bit later, but what made you decide to just do it the first time and not kind of ease into that space?
So you ever get around the big ballers?
Yeah.
And, the high rollers? I have a shout out to all the big ballers and high rollers. I know who they are. Every time I'm getting around the guys I want to be like, they're like, man, I just built in so-and-so. I just built in Loudoun. like, man, you know what? I gotta kind of get a part of that conversation. Like, that was a goal for me. It's like a landmark, or So I'm like, build. So that's when I started to do the research. I'm like, hold on, why are these guys all building? And not only that, I had made some good money off of decor.
Yeah.
Like in real estate, I get it. You can make 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand. Sky's the limit, right? In decor, you can make, 5, 6, 7,000 a wedding. You got 3 weddings back to back every weekend.
Yeah, you're doing well.
Peak season, June, July, you can make a lot of money. So I had some money saved over from that as well too, which was why I was like, hold on, I'm in a comfortable spot to have a few mortgages ready, even if because my mortgage is a lot, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I'm kind of scared. I'm kind of scared because they give you a buffer month.
Yeah,
so right when you move in, you don't pay it.
Exactly.
But July,
it's coming
my mortgage, it's coming.
Oh, this is gonna be your first mortgage payment.
My first mortgage.
Yeah. Okay. We gotta
pretty hefty mortgage payment.
That $2.5 million.
I need real estate to work, you guys.
Yeah, it's gonna work out. It's gonna work out. That's dope, bro. I'm proud of you, man. Like,
thank you.
To build that house.
Proud of you.
Thank you, bro. Do you guys have like a colonial? Do you have a mid-century?
So when you sit down with them, they give you 3. I think there's like the Champ. There's the these really fancy names. I only remember the outlet. So they give you structures on each, and you can only go off the structures.
Yeah.
I think mine was the Champ. And a cool fact is, I think you went to school with my sister too, Arzo.
Yeah.
Arzo built right next to me.
Oh, that's great.
So we bought 2. So now we're on like 4 acres together. There's no median divide. Yeah. They built right next to me, my brother-in-law and my sister, and we built right next to them.
And so why did you choose Clifton?
I chose it because throughout the years, we always grew up, and a lot of the doctors we knew and all high-profile people, they'd be like, oh, I live in Clifton.
Okay.
So I kind of rang out, Great Falls, Clifton, these things, right? So I would always, and it was like the scariest road to drive through. I don't know if you guys, if you're driving through there at night, it's terrifying. So anytime we'd come to Manassas or go to Woodbridge or go this way, if we went to Braddock and we went past...
Went to Burkway, through Burke? Yeah.
I'm terrified, but I'm like, you know what? During the day, this drive is a vibe. There's farms. There's all the. Maybe I could live here one day.
Yeah.
Fairy tales. Would have never thought it could happen. Small kid from small town Annandale. I never thought I could do something like that, right?
Yeah.
So when I would drive through here, I was like, man, I'm looking at my wife like, maybe one day it'd be crazy if we could live here or like Great Falls. The lot opened itself up. It's right on the borderline of there. It's hit. We don't know. I still to this day don't know.
Clifton is dope, bro. I have a buddy that lives in Little Rocky Run. It was right across the street from Centerville High School.
Yes.
That neighborhood. But like you're right, bro. When you drive back there,
there's horses.
You're like,
and there's signs that say people are crossing with horses.
And you don't even know, like you don't even realize like that's back there, kind of in that pocket. You know what I mean?
And literally, you don't see it. I mean, some nights I'm driving, I see family of like 12, 15 deers.
Yeah.
Just hanging out. Family of foxes. You don't see that where you're coming. So it's kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of scary, though. You know, huntsman spiders and stuff. I haven't even seen huntsman spiders.
Nah. You get like...
Big spiders.
Big spiders.
Huge.
I get that joint pest proof, bro. I relate to the... I was saying I was in LA last week. And, I mean, I drive a nice car, right? Like, I like my car.
Range Rover. I'm sorry, I had to.
No, you good,
bro. Hey, I'm your fan. I'm here as a fan and a brother.
I don't like to be like, yo, go to the range, right?
No. I'm going to do that for you.
But I appreciate you doing that for me, right?
Flowers, dude. I don't care.
But I was driving around LA, and it's interesting to me the mindset people have, right? Because I was driving around LA, and there was like a G-Wagon every 6 seconds, Porsche every 6 seconds, Rolls Royce trucks,
everything.
There's everything, right? Lambos, Ferraris, and we did some shopping on Rodeo, so we were down there like experiencing that. That was cool, and we drove up into the Hollywood Hills also, right?
Fun.
And
place.
Went to Beverly Hills. And we drove into Hollywood Hills, and it's just like
go to Malibu.
We did go to Malibu, but it's a little because we went to Santa Monica and then we drove to Malibu a little bit. And I was just like, man, like people getting it out here for real. Like this is like real money,
Getting it.
But it takes a level of success, right? Of like hustling and working hard to reach that. And so it's dope that you've already like kind of put yourself in position like to be successful, but to also have to maintain that success. And I think that's important for your clients to know that it's like, one, it's like you've done all of the real estate things, right? You like your family came over first generation and bought a house, right? And so you have that experience. Then they paid their house off. You have that experience and they sold it generational wealth, pass it to you,
Yep.
and now you've been able to build your family home.
Yes.
So there are a lot of foundational things that you are already aware of when you're even helping a first-time home buyer,
Yes.
let alone someone who's doing what your parents just did, right? So there's a lot of value that you're going to add to your clients and experiences that you can pull from to just like crush it.
I love that.
I
I totally can concur with what you're saying. I'm helping people do that right now, and it's much more heartfelt for me. Like in the beginning, I thought like, oh, I'm going to get into real estate and you're going to try to make money. I'm at the point now where it's like, it's not about making the money. Honestly, if you just do the right thing and do right by people, you're going to make money.
And what I was going to say,
feel that.
Yeah, and what I was gonna say about LA is like I'm driving through the Hollywood Hills, and I have some people think the billionaires should pay taxes and the wealthy need to pay more taxes. I don't feel that way, right?
I'll tell you why too.
And I'll tell the people why. I don't feel that way because the tax code is written so that if you become extraordinary, you get to take you get benefits,
That's
right? And so if you got straight A's, like I remember sitting in school, I got straight A's, and I was like I didn't get straight A's. Excuse me.
Neither did I. You and I were the same.
Someone in my class got straight A's all 4 quarters, and so she didn't have to take the final, right?
Killed it.
So it's just like a benefit of doing well.
Yeah.
And I was riding around. I was like, yo, like people getting it out here. Like who's out here? And I was like, it's crazy that someone would ride out here and be jealous and
why do they
hateful
have
of like
that?
why they got all this. And I was
Crazy.
out there. I was so grateful that like I could even experience
I love that.
because then I know like, oh, there's another level I need to get to.
Yes.
Like I got a nice little cute Range Rover, but this guy just drove past me in a Rolls Royce truck.
Who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that like it's important for you to be like a hustler in this business.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And you got the keys. And the way I'm going to get there is investing in real estate. So
I love it.
The people need to make that happen.
Nick, you mentioned hustle and hard work. People don't understand what I do every weekend. Friends and family are like, we don't see you at the gatherings anymore. We don't see you hanging out anymore. We don't see you at the hookah bar anymore.
Yeah.
We don't see you at all.
Yeah.
I started to stop barely posting to the point where everyone was like, dude, keep up who you are. Like this whole little thing you got going on, like you got to talk to the people, get on Instagram. We'd like to hear you. I started to get a few DMs and I'm like, no, you don't understand when I have to prep for a wedding and then I have to come, unload the wedding, pack the wedding back up at night, come back at night, unload that wedding, pack a whole other wedding, go do a whole wedding, come back. Now, mind you, I'm not talking about what I do for my teammates. Like whoever comes with me, you're not an employee.
Yeah.
You're a family. Like we're eating food. I'm doing the work with you. I'm buying you whatever you want, whatever you need, snacks, jacks, whatever you want. I'm doing for you at this point. Yeah, it just went that way.
No.
So I'm doing it, right? Vapes, anything, cakes, that rhyme too.
Yeah.
Literally like the eating cakes.
I know.
So I'm bothering you. Let me stop.
No, you good.
So literally at that point, people don't understand that I'm exhausted. Like you can tell right now with my eyes.
Yeah, you look.
I'm exhausted. I look beat 24/7.
Uh-huh.
I don't even have time to like sometimes take a shower because I got home at 4 a.m. I unloaded and I got to get back up at 7 or 8 a.m. to do it again. I literally didn't take a shower.
Yeah.
I sprayed cologne and now I'm going to the next hall.
Yeah.
So when you're absolutely right, when people see the car or see the house or see the lifestyle and they judge you not from an optimistic standpoint or from a damn, I'm proud of that person. I couldn't understand it till I started hustling.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, man, I'm proud. Like that person is penny pension and they got money because they busted their behind for it. You don't get it.
Yeah.
I think Drake had a line and I never understood it. Drake used to say, I'm not going to say the first part of it, but he said, people with no money act like money isn't everything.
Yeah.
That is a bar. Because now I know spending $100,000 on decor.
Yeah.
That, hold on, I made this investment. You didn't, but now you're trying to come around and get money with me.
I was listening to that song yesterday, and I was like, you got these songs. My wife is like, that really connects to you, huh?
I'm telling you.
All right, we can get you out of here, bro. Any last words you want to tell the people?
My real estate take, right?
Wait, we're gonna do the real estate take after this.
My bad. Look at me. Let me jump. Let me watch me jump the gun.
So any last words for the people?
Any last words are, please, you guys get in tune with Nick. He has something amazing happening coming out of Northern Virginia. Support the pod. get on the pod. Anything that you can do, share the pod, subscribe to the
Appreciate
pod.
you, bro.
This guy's an amazing guy. He has amazing character, and I'm grateful to even know him, to be in his presence. And one day he's going to be a mogul in this industry. So while you can right now, show that support and genuine love to him, because he needs all the support he can.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate that a lot. Definitely.
That's what I believe about you.
Where can they, if somebody wants to buy a house, sell a house, invest, build a monster house in the woods in Clifton, how can they find you? Where can they connect?
Just Hasib_VA, HASIB_VA. And I'm a very down-to-earth person.
Yeah.
DM me, I DM back. Call me, I call back. Sit down and get a cup of coffee. Let's sit down and grab a cup of coffee. I believe in being a real person.
And look, this was going to happen. You saw Hasib's face. We don't usually see Hasib's face. So if you go to his Instagram, if you go to his IG, it's going to be sideways pictures all the time. But that is him. He just posted All right, bro. Thanks for joining, bro.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, man.
Yes, sir.
This is the world.